I still remember that night with a clarity that feels almost suspended in the air, the hum of the city outside the iron gate, the cool breeze brushing my face, the soft glow of the streetlight stretching across the empty driveway. It was late, long past the hour anyone should have been at the office, and I was exhausted from another day that felt too heavy to carry. I had just packed the last of the quarterly reports, slipped my blazer over my arm, and stepped outside into the quiet night. I was reaching for my car door when I heard the creak of the main gate. No one ever returned at that hour. I turned, expecting the security guard, but instead, framed beneath the lamplight, stood my boss, Thomas. His sleeves were rolled up, collar loosened, expression so soft than I'd ever seen it. "Linda," he said quietly, as if surprised to find me there. "You're still here. You know me," I replied. "Always one more report to finish." He stepped closer, and there was something in his eyes I wasn't used to. Warmth, or maybe weariness, or maybe both. He said he'd gone home, but wasn't ready to stay there. Something in that confession settled into my chest like an unwanted truth I recognized. When he asked if I had a few minutes to talk, I could have said no. It was late. But something deeper, something I hadn't felt in years, urged me to stay. We sat on the bench by the gate, the night folding around us. He spoke first, thanking me for nearly 3 decades of work, telling me he respected me more than I realized. His words felt almost too sincere for the man I'd known so long, and then he admitted his own loneliness, the endless cycle of meetings, empty house, days that felt identical. It was the first time I saw him not as a boss, but as a man carrying a quiet ache. I confessed that I felt the same, that life had become routine, predictable, silent. He turned to me and said softly, "Maybe we're both overdue for something different." Something shifted between us. Not inappropriate, not rushed, just a delicate recognition neither of us expected. When I went home that night, I felt strangely alive again. The next morning, I noticed his office door open earlier than usual. He called me in, and with a steadiness that made my heart tremble. He said, "I need to be honest. I felt something last night, something I haven't felt in a long time." His gaze held mine. I admitted quietly that I felt it, too. After that, everything between us took on a new tension, subtle, careful, unspoken. We remained professional, but every glance, every shared task, every moment alone carried an undercurrent we both felt. It wasn't taboo, it was simply human. A few days later, after a long meeting, I found him waiting again by the gate. We walked together, the night warm and calm. He told me he didn't want either of us to keep walking in circles, that if I ever wanted something more, he'd be there, patient and honest. I touched his arm, a small gesture, but one that said everything neither of us dared speak aloud. From that moment on, our connection deepened slowly, gently, respectfully. We found small pockets of time, a shared coffee in the break room, a quiet conversation on the office terrace, a walk after work. Each moment added another layer to our bond. He listened in a way that made me feel seen, and I shared parts of myself I had kept buried for years. One Friday evening, he found me still working and asked me to step outside. We went to the terrace overlooking the city. The view was breathtaking, a sea of lights shimmering beneath us. He told me that being with me made him feel something real again. I told him he made me feel alive. He brushed my hand lightly, a soft, fleeting gesture, but one that carried sincerity and care. "I want to take this slow," he said, "carefully, honestly, wherever it leads." We spent hours talking about life, mistakes, hopes, the things you normally keep locked away. When he asked if I would spend time with him outside of work, no expectations attached, I said yes with a full heart. Weeks passed and our relationship became a quiet dance, not hidden, but precious. We took evening walks, we laughed more, we opened up about fears and regrets. He held my hand once beneath a street lamp, and the entire world felt still, safe, beautifully simple. Late one evening, after we'd stepped out for air, he stopped and turned to me with a seriousness that made my breath catch. "You've changed something in me," he said. "I can't imagine my days without you." I felt tears form. "You've woken something in me I thought was gone," I whispered. We embraced long, warm, full of meaning. Not rushed, not reckless, a quiet, deep connection between two souls who had spent too many years alone. As the weeks passed, everything about him, his presence, his voice, the way he looked at me, felt like a promise of companionship, of honesty, of something real. Looking back, I realized that the night he appeared at the gate was the beginning of a gentle awakening neither of us expected. We didn't cross boundaries. We honored them. We didn't rush. We moved with patience. What we found wasn't dramatic or wild. It was tender, slow, and deeply human. He reminded me what it felt like to be alive, to be seen, to be valued, to be cherished. And I reminded him that connection doesn't fade with age. It only grows deeper, richer, more meaningful. That night didn't just end a long workday. It opened a door, one that led to understanding, trust, and a quiet kind of love I hadn't felt in decades. And for the first time in a very long time, I wasn't walking alone anymore.